guys, more roll break for you. Ryan and I, we have something different. We like to do different things. We do the predictions, we do reviews, we do the current state of WWE. So this time we have another top 10. And in our criteria, this time we bring top 10 the best matches in SummerSlam history.
Yes.
Ryan, you're going to take us to the number 10 spot in our countdown is.
Yes. Right now, what we're going to do, we have some honorable mentions. We have Kurt Angle versus Stone Cold at 2001 SummerSlam. We have Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio 2002. And we also have CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar at 2013.
Those matches were absolutely fantastic.
They were.
Or three of them.
But we have picked out a whole top 10 list that we feel is a little bit more deserving of the spots.
Now the spots, yeah. Something to say about those honorable mentions. Kurt Angle and Stone Cold, WWE Championship on the line.
Yes.
Kurt Angle and Austin put out a great match. Kurt Angle kicks out of 3 stunners.
Yes.
And it built his character to the roof.
Yes, it did. No doubt. So to me, I think we both agreed that a little bit of a bullshit ending.
Yes.
I want to say that's why this didn't make the list.
Yes.
For us. Take in mind that this is our top 10. You don't have to agree.
Yeah.
If you want, comment. Tell us what your favorite.
Please comment.
Yes.
Please comment. We need comments. And yeah, you don't have to agree with us. You can tell us who or which matches are the top 10 for you guys.
Yes.
But in our criteria, this is an honorable mention.
Yes.
It was a great match. It was back and forth, but again, Stone Cold hit the stunner 3 times, and yet he couldn't put away Kurt Angle.
Yes. In the end, Austin did retain the title simply by disqualification. I think this is another reason why this didn't make the top 10. Kurt Angle should have probably won the title at SummerSlam. Instead, he ended up winning it a month later at Unforgiven.
In Pittsburgh, his hometown.
I mean, that was nice, but to me, Angle, if he was going to win the title, should have won it at a major pay-per-view.
Yes, yeah, it is true. CM Punk and Brock Lesnar, we have talked about this in the show, so that one just gets an honorable mention. So we know it was a great match, great matchup. The promo, the build-up towards the match was great. We both agree that they should have had another match, a rematch, and CM Punk should have gotten the win.
To me, that's why this doesn't make the list, because we didn't see another match between the two where Punk got the win.
Yes. And the other one honorable mention was?
Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio. To me, just an honorable mention simply because the two had a fantastic wrestling match. And the wrestling match was just pure wrestling.
And it was one of the hottest openings.
It was.
And for SummerSlam throughout his history. So finally, we're going to go back to number 10 spot. And that is?
The number 10 is CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy at SummerSlam 2009.
Great. Yeah, it was a great rivalry. CM Punk was running the Straight Edge Society, and he was telling the things about Jeff Hardy, like his drug addiction, alcoholism. He was pointing out all those things from Jeff Hardy and how those things affected his career, and it developed into a great rivalry.
I like how they brought his real life story into the actual story in WWE.
Yes.
And this is really the start of Phil Brooks for me.
Yes.
You know, the real start of CM Punk's...
as a character.
Yes.
As a character.
You know, I really enjoyed CM Punk here. You know, in the beginning, you know, his first World Heavyweight title run was not really big, where, you know, he really developed as a character here. You know, and the Straight Edge Society was awesome. Everybody hated him. The crowd was booing him. People really got disgusted by some of the things that he did. But it was awesome. You know, he really was a major heel and a thorn in everybody's side, where, you know, I really thought it was genius. You know, I like it. I don't drink. I don't smoke. Neither does Juan. You know, I really digged what he was saying. Like,
it was cool.
It was really neat.
It was really neat to see somebody coming out and saying all these things. Despite that, for example, he had the tattoos and everything, but he said, "Hey, I don't do those things.
Yeah.
I don't do those things." And for that reason, you could actually relate with him, and you were kind of torn in a way because you were a fan of Jeff Hardy, but you were like kind of against what Jeff Hardy does in some way. I mean, I don't really care what he does, but you will relate more to what CM Punk was saying.
Yeah.
So that developed into a great rivalry, and he wins the title at SummerSlam, and then the Undertaker make his return.
Yeah.
And that set up that started the feud that led to a match on Breaking Point,
Yeah.
a submission match. CM Punk against the Undertaker. Then the number 9 spot.
The number 9 spot we have the Undertaker. Speaking of the Undertaker versus Edge at SummerSlam 2008.
That was the culmination of almost 2-year rivalry.
Yes.
Edge and the Undertaker. They have multiple matches, WrestleMania, Backlash, TLC, that finally got Edge the World Heavyweight Championship, and a TLC match, which it was great. And then the Undertaker got suspended for Tombstone and Vicky Guerrero.
Yeah.
And then Edge's affair is discovered.
And then Vicky brings
And then
back Taker.
Vicky brings back Undertaker just to get revenge, and he says, "Well, he's back, and also you're gonna have a match with him in hell in a cell." So the match itself was absolutely fantastic to me. Out of all the matches that they had, I will mention WrestleMania as a great match.
For
I
me-
know you love that match.
I absolutely love that match. To me, that's one of the better Taker matches at WrestleMania. I know people always say Shawn versus Taker at 25, but to me, I really enjoy 24 and what Edge brought out of Taker.
It was match at WrestleMania and this one because you see the Undertaker doing the spear and you see him like throwing him into a chokeslam into like tables. It was just great. They utilized the cage,
Yes.
the cell, for the best of for the two of them. It was great.
And that's one of the last times you actually see a lot of violence in Hell in a Cell.
Exactly. There's mentions and reports that match was the last match that was contested into the PG-14.
TV.
TV-14. I'm sorry. TV-14 criteria. It was Edge and Undertaker Hell in a Cell 2008 that closed the show on SummerSlam on that same year. It was TV-14, the last match that it had that criteria. And you will see at the end Undertaker chokeslam Edge through all the way through the ring, and then he set the ring on fire.
Yeah.
And you will see the picture of Taker going like this and the rolling his eyes up. Great, absolutely fantastic. Number 8 spot.
Number 8 spot is Triple H versus The Rock at SummerSlam 1998. For me, I don't want to say much wrestling here per se. Further down the list, you're going to see more wrestling, but this match is definitely more storytelling, and definitely more about how you'll see these two men were in a spot more mid-card because this was for the IC title, and also because these two were in a great spot on the card fighting for not only the IC title, which put you in a spot at that time where you were going to be in the main event at some point. It showed that if you were winning the IC title, you were going to be a world heavyweight champion at some point. But they were also, two leaders of two of the biggest factions in the WWE at the time. You had The
Nation
Rock.
of Domination.
Yes, the Rock was the leader of the Nation, and you had Triple H, who was the leader of D-Generation X. It was a very good match. You had, I think,
The ladder.
it was a ladder match, but you had both, I think, members of both factions getting
Yeah,
involved.
getting involved. You
Because
had both members. Yes, you had the Nation and DX going at each other, and that was the beginning of that rivalry that went for 2, 3, 4 years after that.
It was very good. It
So,
was very good.
It was the first encounter, on pay-per-view, and actually started that big storyline, that big rivalry that they still have till this day.
Yes.
And the fact that actually Triple H got the win because of the Hell of China.
Yes, the low blow.
Because she low blows The Rock, and then Triple H is able to get the title and everything. That was just great because it started like you will see that these two were future super like WWE champions,
Big time.
and that was the first encounter. Like Ryan said, that's what the IC title used to do back then. It will set the first stone for stars to become superstars, and that's what they did for The Rock and Triple H, and that was one of the best matches of that show actually.
No doubt.
In 1998. Because that was the match before the main event, that it was The Undertaker against Stone Cold for the WWE Championship.
It was a really nice spot for them because, Austin and Taker just did not have chemistry.
Those matches are just terrible. Great maybe on paper, but when it came to the actual match, absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Matches are awful. The worst match that they ever had to me is Rock Bottom 98, Buried Alive. What a bullshit match that is. It's hard to watch, and of course at the end, stunner and done. But I feel that Triple H and The Rock, they were able to have good matches.
Yes.
And this one was the first proof of that.
Yeah.
And with the help of China, they had many elements, and of course the ladder held them out a lot. Number 7.
This one, again, when we go down this list, it's very hard to put these in order. This one, I had a lot of trouble with. I think Juan did too, because this match was so good and told a lot of story. Owen Hart taking on Bret Hart at SummerSlam 1994.
Rivalry between the brothers.
I really enjoyed the rivalry. They wrestled at WrestleMania 10, and Owen Hart won that match. No title was on the line at that time. And then at this time, Bret Hart was champion, and the title was on the line in a steel cage match.
Yeah.
There was a lot of storytelling going on in this match. All the hatred Owen Hart had, he was very pissed off all the time, because Bret always got the spotlight. But Owen Hart was just as good as Bret Hart when it came to in-ring skill. My heart goes out to anybody who was in the Hart family and when they lost Owen Hart, because we never got to see him really truly shine the way he should have been.
Yes.
He could have been a world champion at some point.
I think he was supposed to have a run.
I think so.
Later on in the year that he passed away, unfortunately. And like you said, it was a great rivalry.
Yeah.
And those two they're, hard.
Chemistry in the ring.
Bro, siblings, and on top of that, the sons of Stu Hart. So of course they were great wrestlers. And the fact that they had the family involved, the whole storyline, jealousy, Owen wanted to be in the spotlight, Bret, he was the champion, he was the only one that got the spotlight. So that got Owen jealous, and that's why he attacked, he turns heel, he didn't want to be with the family and everything. It was just a great storytelling right there. And the match itself was great. There were many spots that Owen was about to leave the cage, I was about to come out through the door, and Bret will magically pull him off again, and the match will continue. It was just a great match. At the end, Bret Hart retains.
He does.
And of course Owen has to go back to the loser spot.
But what was nice is the aftermath, the beatdown, where they lock the cage, and Neidhart comes in, and they start beating the piss out of Bret Hart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I know that Bulldog was in the crowd. He came out and tried to help Bret Hart, and so did the rest of the brothers, but they had the cage locked, and they kept knocking him down off the cage and stuff, and it was intriguing to watch that, because that SummerSlam really wasn't
too great of a card.
It wasn't.
It didn't have.
I believe that was Taker versus Taker.
Yeah, that was the main event.
Yeah, and that was fucking terrible.
That was the main event, and this match was right before the main event. But yeah, it was the best match in that card, because at that time the WWE didn't really have major stars. It was in the developing process of creating new stars.
Yeah.
So in between this event, I think this was the best match of that night.
No doubt.
And then number 6 spot.
Number 6, we have Kurt Angle taking on Brock Lesnar.
SummerSlam
2003.
It's 2003. This happens after Brock Lesnar wins the title from Kurt Angle, and he turns heel, I think.
What happened was, we have this story. I always
Angle comes back from injury. I
yes,
think.
this was such a intriguing story to me, but will always be one of my favorites. We had a heel angle at WrestleMania 19 and a babyface Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
Then we had a returning angle come back as a babyface, and I believe it was Vengeance, where he won the title back in a triple threat match.
With the Big Show.
Yes.
With the Big Show.
And he pinned Brock Lesnar with an angle slam.
Yeah.
Then Brock Lesnar turned heel
Mm-hmm.
and became a lackey of Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
So that led to their fight at SummerSlam 2003. This match, again, their match at WrestleMania 19 was very good. Excellent match. This was when Lesnar could actually wrestle. Technically sound, very good.
Or he wanted to wrestle.
But technically, he was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
He was
hands down.
Like Angle could actually wrestle. Belly to bellies, Germans, technically very
Suplex.
sound wrestler.
And not just Suplex City, but he'll do regular.
You know, he was a very sound wrestler, and I enjoyed his wrestling. And then this was the same thing as SummerSlam. Very sound, very good technical match. The only issue I had with the match was the ending, because in the end, Lesnar tapped, and back then he wasn't as protected as he is now. You know, Lesnar is, you know, for fans of today, they know him as, you know, the Beast. Back then, it was Here Comes the Pain,
Mm-hmm.
or the next big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, you know, Lesnar will always be, you know, the next big thing, or Here Comes the Pain. You know, I used to love when Taz said that. And tapping out, you know, at least back then, during this match, Angle had the ankle lock on for probably a good 3 minutes. You know, could have been even longer. He had it on for a long freaking time, and it made Lesnar look at least legit when he tapped, because he had it on for so long. 2 went through a lot. It was really good. He delivered an F5 on one leg. Really legit.
It was a good match. It was an incredible, great match. And at the end, Angle does the angle slam and the ankle lock for like a good 3-4 minutes, and Brock Lesnar taps out.
Yes.
To the dismay and sadness of Vince McMahon. And then Vince McMahon received a Olympic slam also on a chair.
Yes.
Yeah. It was just a fantastic match. Those two had a lot of chemistry with each other, and they knew how to pull out great matches.
Yes.
And SummerSlam was just one proof of that. And that led to one of the best matches in WWE history, and probably the #1 match on free TV.
Yes.
That took place a few weeks after that.
Yes.
That was the Iron Man match for the WWE Undisputed Championship.
That
will
match
be Angle giving the title back to Brock Lesnar.
That match was phenomenal.
So that set the stage for that. But I will never forget the SmackDown after SummerSlam, when everybody just started chanting, "You tap out, you tap out," and like Ryan said, it's a little different when Brock Lesnar had to do these things. But in the end, he happened to tap out to Kurt Angle, and in this case, it was necessary, I feel, because it made Angle look really strong.
I'll agree with that, no doubt.